probably most people who are joining us, here and around the world have the same type of thoughts or feelings and challenging moments. And I think it's one of the entanglements is that we have been taught to measure our sense of success on a bank balance. And we think, well, if we're getting it right and we're manifesting correctly and we're following our true purpose, then everything should be fine. Which that's actually one of the biggest illusions, and I observe this underpinning a lot of the kind of ideas around manifestation. The truth is we are already here as the manifestation of existence. And because we're so caught up in this notion that we are somehow meant to control and manipulate it, we imagine that it's not okay as it is. And that's how we generated this whole great big mess and dysfunctional system anyway in the first place, because we lost track of our innate connectivity and value, and that we didn't need anything other than what we had. We're chasing after wants, not what we need. So life actually keeps reminding us of that. And oftentimes we are most on track when things feel most difficult, because we are in a process of undoing conditions. Now is a time to to dismantle, to really pull apart that which is actually not serving us. We know this. We can look at this whole system we're a part of, and honestly, can any one of us say, hey, this is great, this is really working? No. And we also know in the core of our being that actually success is when we are completely content with that which we need, and that actually life is creating that in us and through us. It's not about what we want. So oftentimes the measures we use to determine are we being successful, about being on track, is still hooked into the objectified realm of gauging our situation and object-orientated, goal-orientated, instead of values. How do we value our moment? Do we feel the value of ourself, the value of our relationships, the value of our innate sense of purpose? And once we reconnect to that, we're less driven by what the conditioned mind is imagining and projecting into the future and wanting. And if we quiet that down, and by the way, at first it's not necessarily going to be quiet, those conditions can be pretty damn loud, you've built up an identity around them, they're going to really fight like little bastards, aren't they? Gee, they put up a good fight. Got a control of you, haven't they? So, it's not necessarily easy, but the reality is it does start to quiet down at some point. And when that quiets down a bit and it loses the power over you, what you think you want, you really truly come back into connection with what you are and what you have, and that what you need really is happening. So if your bank balance is low, it's because actually that's what you need. So
to check the identities.
And all these teachings around manifestation actually focus on actively pursuing what you want, what you think you want, because you've been fed all these lies and stories of what you actually are supposedly meant to have or you need to be okay, to be safe, to be secure, to be, sexy enough and desirable enough and, whatever, big enough, all of this. And so you go chasing these wants, which is actually driven by the ego. It's not the direction of the soul. The truth is your soul is in command, ultimately. You might generate a whole lot of experiences that have been driven and, catalyzed by your wants. Ultimately, though, you experience conflict through that, you experience suffering through that, which causes this clash of values. And either you keep clinging in attachment and you struggle to keep, somehow regurgitating those values. Oh, well, if I just do it this way, and if I just try and go and chase that, or hang on, maybe if I follow that want, it's all going to be okay. It's actually not. So if you understand the soul is directing it, you really start to loosen your grip on this idea that you have to somehow get this idea in your mind, what do I want so I can manifest it? Rather, if we're connected to our values, everything actually unfolds in accord with the values.
Yeah, that's because I had been thinking, maybe because I don't really do that manifestation, sit down and what do I want thing, but not consciously. And so the idea of like, maybe I need to get clearer on what I want sort of felt incongruous. It's like, no, that feels like that's a lot of mental constructing, and that's not where I want to go. I'm here for freedom.
So to put it in a nutshell, if you want to truly manifest consciously and truly in alignment with your soul or your true nature or whatever you want to call it, you need to focus on your values, not wants. If you focus on your values, actually what you really do truly want will be revealed.
So just to get clear on the values, when you say values, do you mean like love and compassion and fairness or that sort of thing when you say values?
Yes, and also experiences. We value experiences. And if we value the experience of nature, if we value the experience of connectivity, if we value the experience of being content, we value the experience of more conscious relationships, etc., life will bring us into accord with what is the most authentic expression of ourself that produces that. And that's what it pivots on, is being truly and utterly authentic rather than a model of conditioned, collected ideas. And that's what most of humanity is struggling with, just a collection of conditioned ideas. They're imposed. They're not real. They're not authentically you, us. So that's what I'm talking about. Values is something much deeper and broader than just, what we typically think of as, I value honesty, I value, loyalty, blah, blah. What do we value as a lived experience?
Yeah, it's a lived experience.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Beautiful to share with you, Mukti. Thank you.